Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. As families gather for the holidays, it's an ideal time to talk about how best to care for your loved ones and how to make their home comfortable and safe for years to come. It's an interesting topic, especially during this holiday season. Let's bring in two people who know it well, home renovation expert Ty Pennington and AARP's family and caregiving expert Amy Goyer. They're joining us to talk about the top home improvement ideas for older Americans and how to assess your loved one's need this holiday season. Good morning. How are you two?
Doing great.
Thanks for having us.
Nice to be here.
Appreciate you being here. So let's talk about how you begin this conversation, because it can be kind of tough at any time of year, especially during the holiday season. Amy, we'll begin with you.
Yes, I always say it's important to talk early and often because you want to talk about things when you're not in the middle of a crisis. Nobody can make decisions when you're in that. And also because your loved one's wishes may change over time. That's why it's important to revisit it often. What you talked about the holidays. The holidays might be a really good time to observe what's going on in your loved one's life. Are they safe in the home? What are their needs? What do they need some support with? And maybe have that conversation, or at least let's say you're talking about your aging parent. Maybe you're going to have that conversation with your siblings who are together for the holidays. As you do this, think about, if you want to have that conversation, who needs to be a part of that conversation? My grandmother my uncle was the person who she listened to on certain things, and so he always needed to be a part of that conversation. Maybe it's the lawyer or the doctor or somebody that, they feel comfortable with. And really talk to them about what the options are. What are the solutions? If we want you to stop driving, here's what how you're going to get around. If we think that you're having trouble with the stairs, here's what we're going to propose on how we're going to adjust that. We're going to get a stair lift, or we're going to move your bedroom down to the first floor. So have some really practical and solid solutions for them. And then, the other thing is to make sure that you approach this in a mode of love and concern. We're all in this together. Yeah. We all have the same goal. We want our loved ones to be as independent as possible for as long as possible. And, you're not here to tell them what to do. Use I statements. Don't say, you shouldn't be doing this. Ty's experienced this with his mom.
Well, yeah, parents don't really like their offspring to tell them what they should be doing. So I think having the conversation was like, we've noticed that, you're struggling with this. If we did this, would it make things a lot easier? And I think in the long run, your loved ones aren't going to ask for it, but they know they need it as well.
So Ty, you're well known to the HGTV audience. You have a very popular program on there. What's your best way, since you've been a part of this in your own personal life? What's the best way to assess or prioritize a loved one's need in this kind of situation?
Well, I think you have to do exactly what you said. You have to prioritize, right? And so I think most of the time it's pretty obvious which ones are sort of the most critical. I think you run into the bathroom situation, which is like, look, is the door wide enough to even get into to have mobility, especially if they're already starting to use a cane or a wheelchair? Does that have accessibility? Some things are simple as, like, does it have safety bars so that they can hold on to something when they're sitting down on the toilet, or even a riser pad on the toilet to make life getting up or sitting down so much easier. And then it's just transition of getting in the home, right? So if you've got to go upstairs, that just becomes it's sort of a nightmare, because your fear is they're going to fall. And that could happen whether it's a slippery tile, it could be a loose rug. So it's those kind of things, but it can all come down to lighting. It can also come down to whether or not they have smart technology so it can help them sort of control the environment in their home. But in my mom's case, too, sometimes it's a respiratory issue, so you have to focus more on the quality of the air they're breathing and putting in something like a HEPA filter. So it's really about seeing where they are sort of in their journey of aging with the house that they're in, and prioritizing, like, what can we spend with the budget that we have now, and then just sort of gradually adapt that home to get better with age the same way they are.
Yeah, you know, and you mentioned that, Ty. I want to follow up with that and open this next question to both of you. You mentioned that, you know, with a budget, especially with inflation being so sky high, renovations can be very daunting. Let's talk about simple improvements to make a home safer for the family and aging loved ones. Ty, let's begin with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing, you know, you think about is like, how can we make accessibility just to get in the house easier, right? I think a ramp is pretty affordable thing you can do, whether you're doing it out of wood or there's aluminum. There's also just actually doing landscaping and pavers that go right up to your door. Sometimes that's the easiest way. But I would say accessibility, you know, sometimes just letting them have the independence to be able to do their own laundry so that they don't feel like they're just being taken care of and being, you know, looked after all the time. Maybe moving the washer and dryer to a location that's accessible to them so that it's not up or downstairs. But yeah, like going as big as putting in an elevator, that's a lot of money. That's something that, you know, you really want to sort of put to the back burner. If at all possible, they can still move around in a ramp situation. I think that's going to save you a lot of money. However, you got to remember what you spend on this house that is your own family's house will be passed down to the next generation that's aging, compared to what does it cost to house a family member in another, you know, another location in a home. And so that's what you have to weigh. Like, what is it going to cost you a year to do that compared to the renovating of a home that's going to be in your family as everybody starts to age?
And, you know, there are sometimes some supports to help pay for some of this. My dad was a veteran. The VA provided ramps for us, and they were these kind of rubber things that fit together like Legos, and they were threshold ramps, but they were vital for us. And the VA actually provided a lot of other supports, including a small grant to help with a bathroom remodel. There may be some supports through the Area Agency on Aging, some local organizations that will help provide ramps or build ramps. So make sure that you reach out and see if there's some supports available in your community.
Yeah, and I think during the holidays, the best thing is just observe, see where they're struggling. If they want to be part of the kitchen experience, like lower countertops, lower table, have them a place to sit where they can cut vegetables. So I think the holidays is a good time to sort of assess.
You guys are giving some great advice for our viewers that are tuning in right now. Where can people go for more information? Because you guys have hit on all kinds of great topics.
Well, visit aarp.org/caregiving, and there you're going to find all of our supports, our tips and our tools, and I have a column there. We have lots of things to talk about care at home and how to make the home safe and make it usable for caregiving as we age. So be sure to visit us there.
Okay, Ty, anything from your perspective?
I would just say keep an eye on your loved ones. I mean, it's interesting how they childproof and made everything safe when we were younger, and now we're doing it for them as they're older. It's love, you know, it never ends.
Really appreciate the conversation this morning. A lot of useful ideas, a lot of useful tips. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.